Copper is fundamental to our modern lives. We use it for construction, electronics, automobiles, you name it. But compared to other natural resources, we often overlook the impact that our consumption of it has on the environment. The copper production process can cause massive amounts of water and soil contamination that can last for years or even decades. So, how does this happen? Most copper produced today comes from ores rather than native copper. When these ores are processed, all the non-copper material is crushed and discarded to become what is known as tailings, and it's dumped in piles or ponds. The global copper industry produces over 3.5 billion tons of this stuff annually. When these tailings piles or even the interior of the copper mine comes into contact with water or moist air, the sulfur compounds in the rocks react to produce destructive and toxic sulfuric acid, and often heavy metals such as lead and arsenic are leached from the rocks as well. That contaminated water then escapes from the mine and waste dump area and gets into surface water, groundwater, and soil, contaminating food and water sources of wildlife and humans in the area. While water and soil pollution due to copper mining is a problem throughout the industry, now abandoned Anaconda Copper Mining Company's mine in Butte, Montana is perhaps the most notable example of it. The mine was once the source of a third of the country's copper, producing 20 billion pounds total before it was abandoned in the mid-1980s. After, the mine itself filled with water due to the water suppression pump no longer being active, and it became a 600-acre lake known as the Berkeley Pit, filled with water containing toxic metals and massive amounts of sulfuric acid that continues to threaten the fauna of the area. One of the more notable incidents occurred in 1995, where over 300 snow geese landed in the pit's water and were killed. Tailings from the mine were also dumped near the shore of Silver Bow Creek, and during precipitation events, the toxic runoff flowed directly into the creek and thus the Clark Fork River, contaminating miles of it as well as millions of cubic feet of soil. This decimated wildlife and vegetation in the area and exposed residents to toxic metals like arsenic and lead. Due to this massive amount of environmental contamination, the mine site and much of its surrounding area was deemed a Superfund in 1983, a designation given by the EPA to areas in the U.S. so that they can receive federal funding and assistance with cleanup of environmental hazards. The site has luckily seen significant improvements since then. 30,000 feet of stream have been restored in the area and over 3 million cubic yards of toxic waste have been removed. But cleanup of the area is still not complete over 30 years later. So how do we prevent water and soil contamination from copper processing? One of the best ways would be through mandating wastewater capture and treatment systems for all copper mines and their dumps. 14 of the top 15 copper mines in the U.S. don't have sufficient systems as of 2019, leading to several incidents where toxic water from them escaped into the environment. Furthermore, expanding copper recycling efforts can help reduce the amount of copper that is mined and thus the industry's environmental impact. More mindful consumption and production of copper can help prevent environmental catastrophes like the Butte Superfund site from happening again.